Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Geek World Radio. So it seems like lately Hollywood has been getting lazier and lazier, and the majority of movies that we hear are going to be coming out are remakes. And that doesn't exactly make us happy. So we decided to talk about, how long is long enough to even think about doing a remake, and maybe why you should remake a movie or not.
Good point, Anime. I mean, the Battlestar Galactica TV show is now going to be a movie. Gremlins, they're going to do a remake of, and that's pretty sacred ground.
Mm-hmm.
So it's true, we're in this sort of quagmire, so, I don't think it's going to stop. So how can we improve this?
Mm-hmm. Now, first off, I do think that there is a certain amount of time that you have to wait before you do a remake of something.
Yeah.
I mean, if you do it too close to the last one, first off, you're going to be stuck with people just thinking about the last one, thinking that this new movie, despite the fact that it is a remake, is connected to that old one in some other way.
I agree. I think the Spider-Man franchise is the perfect example.
Mm-hmm.
Between Spider-Man 3 and the Amazing Spider-Man, there's only 5 years.
Yeah.
And between Spider-Man 1 and the Amazing Spider-Man, it's only 10 years.
Yeah, that's really not a long time to wait. Now, I understand why they did it. It's because they don't have, the carte blanche rights to it.
Right.
Sony will lose those rights if they don't make new movies every however many years.
Totally.
But the fact is that for us movie-watching public, we see this and we go, but wait, there was just another one. You had another guy. It's still Peter Parker. It's not like you decided to use the new Spider-Man or some other character. You are going with the exact same character and just remaking it.
Yeah, it's like a break in continuity. It's, the same example. You don't have to kill Uncle Ben again. I mean, James Bond, it wasn't until 40 years after the franchise had already begun that they decided to reboot it. So the question of this show is, how soon is too soon to do these remakes?
Yes. Now, this doesn't really apply when it comes to foreign films. Personally, I wish more people in the American movie-going public would go out and see foreign films.
Yes.
I wish they could bring them over as they are. I wish that there was a universal translator that just made it so people understood every language and didn't have to, bother with reading subtitles. Because, I know that's an issue that some people have. But since that's not going to happen, people make remakes of foreign films, and, I sort of accept that, even though I wish...
And a lot of them are very successful American films people don't even know. Of course, The Departed, The Ring, Fistful of Dollars, which isn't an American movie, but still counts. There are a bunch of these movies that are just straight-up remakes from other countries. People don't even know about it, and they do very well.
Right.
And that's why they don't count, because we're talking about movies that we already love that have been remade. For instance, perfect example, Robocop.
Right. Now, the thing is that they did actually make an interesting movie. I don't think they should have called it Robocop.
Yes.
I think that was a bad idea. I think maybe having something that implied that they were inspired by Robocop, but, they really did take the basic tenets of the original Robocop movie and change them. And so, it was a totally different kind of concept, even if it was a really interesting new movie.
I agree, Anime, but the thing is, it was 27 years between the original Robocop and the new one. And I think that really encapsulates my sort of feeling of it, which is, I almost think that you need to have a generation of people in order to do these remakes. I think that, 27 years is a long gap. I now, work with guys, they're in their early 20s, they've never seen Robocop.
Which is sad.
I know that's sad and it's terrible, and I tell them that. But the point is, if you didn't grow up in the 80s, there's a chance you didn't see Robocop.
Right.
But a lot of us who did, like, Robocop is like, it's like church. It's like an important thing.
Yeah, but that's another question, why remake something that is so beloved? Take Ocean's 11. What you had there was an original terrible movie. You had a director that said, hey, there's this terrible movie, but it's an interesting concept. I think I could do something great with that. Who makes a remake of the movie and makes a great movie.
Totally, and there was like 41 years in between that, and also it was a Rat Pack movie, and those were kind of like throwaway movies. Those were just like, let's get some sort of like plot, no matter how asinine it is, to get these really cool guys all in one movie. But Steven Soderbergh saw something interesting in the plot and was able to turn that in, and I think that's also an interesting question too. Is sometimes a movie might have some interesting moments in it, but not actually be a great movie, and maybe that's okay for a remake. Like, for instance, I would totally be okay with a remake of Elysium.
Not yet, obviously, because that movie just came out.
Exactly.
But at some point, someone might watch that in the future and go, hey, that movie has some really neat ideas, some really cool things going for it. But wow, that's a terrible movie.
Totally. But we brought up Spider-Man before. That was too soon. We also want to talk about the Hulk.
Yes. So Ang Lee's The Hulk was terrible.
Yeah.
Then came The Incredible Hulk, which actually they did a really good job on. I think it was really good for what I guess you could say was a remake or a reimagining or another look at the comic book character.
A reboot.
A reboot, yeah. But because of Ang Lee's The Hulk, people really connected The Incredible Hulk to it. They just thought, oh, it's just another one of those movies. It'll be the same problem if they just try and reboot The Green Lantern.
Yeah.
You know, especially if they try and do another one with Hal Jordan as the main character.
Oh, I totally agree. Now, with the Hulk, that was interesting because that was also 5 years in between, like Spider-Man. Mm-hmm. But Ang Lee's The Hulk was Universal, but The Incredible Hulk was one of those first Marvel Studios films.
Right.
It actually came out right around the same time as Iron Man. Mm-hmm. And so they really wanted to, like, you know, revamp this character, but like you said, it was too soon.
Yeah. Now, when it came to the Avengers, yes, they recast who was playing Bruce Banner / the Hulk, but it was sort of supposed to be connected to the Incredible Hulk movie.
Totally. So I think that most people can pretty much agree that probably the greatest remake of all time is John Carpenter's The Thing.
Yes.
Super amazing. And one of the things that makes it a great remake is a lot of people haven't even seen the original movie, which is called The Thing from Another Planet. Mm-hmm. And even if they have, that movie is not very good.
Nope.
I mean, it's the ideas are okay, but it's so old. It's from the 50s. So there's like 31 years between that original and the new one.
Yeah.
Which goes along with this idea you've been talking about, which is, you know, a longer time is probably better to do these remakes.
Yeah, when you have a long time in between, there's a few things that happen. One is, like you said before, people forget or people don't know. There's a whole generation of people that may have never even heard of the original. Mm-hmm. Plus, technology evolves. The technology that they use to make movies, the technology that they use to do effects, all sorts of things can be improved, can be made better, and in some cases, that's how you want to do the movie. And in some cases, that just makes for a way better movie because they just weren't able to do everything that they wanted to with the original.
Or you could be like George Lucas and take your original 3 movies you did in the 70s, keep them the same, and change all the special effects for today. And one other thing you talked about, Anime, about special effects, I want to bring up Gremlins. Mm-hmm. They're going to remake Gremlins, right? But what's really great about the original Gremlins is the fact that, you know, those were all animatronics. That was before CGI.
Right.
And I'm kind of afraid that once they remake it, and, you know, they can have 1 million Gremlins. I mean, that's all great and everything, but I feel like if they're not puppets anymore, if they're CGI creations, I'm not sure if they're going to be quite as terrifying. And I might be old man on the porch and around, but I have yet to find a convincing CGI character aside from Gollum. And even Gollum, if Gollum only made noises and didn't have Andy Serkis's voice, I'm not sure he would have been an effective character. When the Gremlins, they don't really talk. They just go, blah, 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 blah.
Sometimes puppets and animatronics hold up. You know, and I think Gremlins is a perfect case where that stuff really holds up. It's not going to improve anything to make it with CGI. And like you said, I also think it might hurt it.
Oh, totally. All right, Anime, so we've talked about a lot of stuff, but basically I want to know from you, how many years do you think is like just the limit in order to actually start remaking some of these movies?
I think that there really does need to be a generation in between, you know, maybe 15 years at least. But with the caveat of stop trying to remake our favorite movies.
Yes.
Stop thinking, studios, that you can do better.
Yeah.
You know, because there's a reason that they're our favorite. There is a reason that we keep rewatching them and that people show them to their kids. And just by remaking it doesn't mean that people are going to be like, oh boy, I loved this movie. I'll love the remake. Have you not noticed that backfires on you? And it's also a bad idea to name them the same thing, because then all you're going to have is people going, I love that other movie. Why would I see this new one? How many years do you think?
I agree. I think a generation. I honestly think that 15 years is too early. I think that it should be, 25 years is pretty much the right spot. Because, you know, I think Robocop, once again, is a perfect example. I think because there were so many years, there's 27 years, I think that I was adult enough when I saw the previews to not just have a knee-jerk reaction, how could you guys do this? I went to see it and was able to appreciate that they did something different, something that not at all messes with the original, which by itself is still a masterpiece, hasn't been degraded at all by this new movie that's so different.
Right.
And not only that, but I feel like there's so many kids nowadays 15, 20, 25 haven't seen the original RoboCop, maybe now will actually go and see the original RoboCop because of this new one. Mm-hmm. So for me, I think definitely it should be no less than 25 years.
Yeah.
If you're going to do a remake, especially of a good movie.
Yeah.
If you're going to remake garbage, I don't care. Do it whenever. For instance, I Am Legend, mm-hmm. the Will Smith movie. They could do a reboot of that right now that has nothing to do with what they did, that's like the book, and it could be amazing.
Right.
I don't know if anyone would see it because they'd still think it's like that Will Smith movie.
Right.
So, like, maybe in 15 years they could do it because the Will Smith movie was so bad. But, like, if you're going to remake something like Gravity...
I've got it. Wait.
Yeah.
What if they do a remake, but they call it The Omega Man and pretend that it's a remake of that really bad movie, The Omega Man, that's also based on the story I Am Legend?
Nice. Great anime.
Yeah.
I think they should do that, definitely. The Omega Man. Okay, guys, so what do you think? How long should a studio take to remake a great film?
If they should at all.
Exactly. Let us know in the comments down below. If you want to listen to a radio show on every week on Indie 100 and The Point.
And if you want to get in touch with us, you can send us an email to geekworldradio@yahoo.com, and be sure to check out our website, geekworldradio.com.
Get your ass to Mars! They didn't. They didn't get their ass to Mars. It's like, come on, guys. Get your act together. Bye! Geek World Radio.